4,200 passengers were on board that night. By sunrise, one of them was gone. No body, no struggle, no explanation, just an empty cabin drifting across the ocean. It was supposed to be routine. A luxury vessel slicing through the dark ocean, far from shore, surrounded by nothing but deep sea and silence. Music echoed through polished corridors. Glasses clinked in late-night lounges. Laughter carried across the upper decks. The ship was headed toward its next tropical port, a floating city suspended above miles of water and ocean mysteries no one can truly control. Among the passengers was someone who would soon become part of a chilling cruise ship disappearance. They were last seen just before midnight. Security cameras captured them walking calmly down a carpeted hallway on Deck 9. No sign of panic, no sign of fear. They used their key card. The cabin door opened. They stepped inside. That was the last confirmed sighting. By morning, the room would be found exactly as it had been left. Shoes beside the bed, phone charging on the nightstand, passport secured inside the safe, clothes neatly folded, the balcony door locked from the inside. No signs of forced entry, no broken furniture, no indication of a struggle. It looked like someone had stepped out for a moment, except they never returned. At 9:30 a.m., housekeeping knocked. No answer. They entered using a master key. The cabin was empty. The bed had not been slept in. The air felt still, heavy with unanswered questions. Friends on board tried calling. The phone rang from inside the room. Security reviewed keycard records. No exit logged after midnight. No elevator usage. No stairwell footage. Cameras showed no one leaving the corridor during the critical window. Motion sensors recorded nothing unusual. It was as if the passenger had simply dissolved into thin air. So how does someone vanish from a floating city surrounded by endless ocean? The timeline only deepened the mystery. At 11:47 p.m., cameras showed the passenger returning alone from a lounge. At 11:52 p.m., they entered their cabin. Around 12:10 a.m., the hallway remained quiet. Neighbors later reported hearing no raised voices, no crashing sounds, no unusual movement. By 1 a.m., the vessel continued steadily across open water. The sea was calm. Skies were clear. The deep sea below stretched for thousands of feet into darkness. At 3 a.m., a routine crew patrol walked the corridor. Everything appeared normal. By breakfast, concern turned into alarm. By mid-morning, it was undeniable. Another of the missing passengers on cruise ships had disappeared overnight without explanation. The captain initiated search procedures. Crew members quietly scanned public spaces, lounges, restaurants, storage areas, observation decks. Crew-only corridors. Nothing. Ship-wide announcements requested the passenger report to guest services. Silence followed. Security began combing through hours of surveillance footage. Elevators, stairwells, outer decks, no sighting. The ship's overboard detection system had not triggered. No splash reported. No witness came forward. Maritime authorities were notified. Coordinates were logged. Search and rescue teams began tracing the ship's path across the ocean. Helicopters hovered low over the surface. Rescue vessels scanned grid patterns. But the ocean is vast, unpredictable, filled with currents that can carry evidence miles away within hours. Once someone is lost at sea, time becomes the greatest enemy. Family members were contacted. Shock quickly turned to disbelief. There was no reason for voluntary disappearance, no financial distress, no personal crisis. Photos from earlier that day showed smiles, sunlight, relaxation. This true crime cruise ship disappearance soon joined the catalog of real cruise ship disappearance cases that investigators quietly study. Because despite advanced technology, cruise ships have seen more than a few mysterious vanishings, and each one adds to the growing list of ocean mysteries that remain unsolved. Theories formed almost immediately. The first, an accidental fall overboard. Cruise ships are massive structures with multiple open decks. Alcohol flows late into the night. Disorientation can happen. A misstep, a slip, a climb over a railing. But no camera footage placed the passenger on an outer deck after midnight. No overboard alarm activated. No witness reported seeing someone near the railings. and their belongings remained untouched inside a locked cabin. The second theory, suicide. Investigators always consider it, yet there were no warning signs, no messages, no troubling searches on their devices, no behavioral red flags. The locked balcony door complicated that explanation even further. Then came the possibility of foul play. Could someone have entered the cabin unnoticed? Electronic logs showed no unauthorized keycard access. No forced entry, no struggle. But experts familiar with cruise ship disappearance cases caution that systems are not flawless. Keycards can malfunction, cameras can fail, records can be incomplete. And in this case, one detail raised serious concern. Between 12:03 a.m. and 12:17 a.m., the hallway camera outside the cabin experienced a recording gap. 16 missing minutes. Initially, technicians reported no system errors. Later reviews confirmed the footage was incomplete. A glitch, they said. A brief interruption. 16 minutes inside a high-security floating environment. If someone entered the corridor during that window, it would not appear on record. If someone left the cabin, there would be no visual proof. Why was the gap not immediately disclosed? Why did the ship continue traveling across the ocean for hours before issuing a full external alert? By the time search teams were fully mobilized, the vessel had moved dozens of nautical miles. Search zones widened. Currents shifted. The deep sea below concealed any physical trace. Some speculated about human trafficking. Others whispered about targeted violence. There were online discussions about other passengers who disappeared overnight on cruise ships under equally strange circumstances. But no evidence supported any single theory. Legal reviews followed. Crew members gave statements. Surveillance systems were audited. In the end, no criminal charges were filed. No definitive conclusion was announced. The case became another unsolved cruise ship disappearance. For the family, the absence felt endless. No remains recovered. No final goodbye. Just unanswered questions, drifting somewhere between surface waves and the darkness below. Cruise ships are marketed as controlled environments, secure, monitored, contained. But the reality is unsettling. They operate in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by vast deep-sea terrain that hides wreckage, secrets, and countless unresolved mysteries. Disappearance at sea has always carried a unique terror. On land, evidence remains. Witnesses emerge. Trails exist. But on water, especially over deep-sea trenches, the environment erases almost everything. This was not the only case. Over the years, other real-life cruise ship disappearance stories have surfaced. In one case, a couple disappeared on cruise ship headlines spread before details grew unclear. In others, individuals were last seen entering cabins and never stepping out again. Some were ruled accidental. Others remain open files. Each incident adds to the chilling reality that even with thousands of people on board, isolation can occur. Surveillance can miss critical moments. A brief lapse in footage can create permanent uncertainty, and so the mystery remains. No confirmed sighting after 11:52 p.m. No physical evidence recovered. No verified explanation. Just another name added to the list of missing passengers on cruise ships. Another story folded into the archive of ocean mysteries that stretch far beyond what we understand. Because when someone vanishes at sea, the truth sinks into layers of darkness, pressure, and time. Investigators can analyze data, experts can debate probabilities, but the ocean keeps its secrets. Somewhere beneath the surface, below rolling waves and shifting currents, the answer exists. Whether it was an accident, an unseen act, or something far more deliberate, it happened in silence. And like so many mysterious cruise ship disappearance at sea cases before it, the ending offers no closure. One cabin door closed. By morning, it opened to nothing. And somewhere in the endless ocean, beneath the deep sea where light cannot reach, the truth still waits.